LOP, your statement has already been called. Yeah, so
I thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, these are very curious moments for us leaders in this country. And when these moments arise, as the presiding officer, take them in stride for the distinguished statesmen and women from masqueraders, social climbers, and the like. Because
LOP, I thought you were going to present the statement. That's the item we have.
yeah, Right Honourable Speaker, this is the LOP standing, and they can make a preamble to calm the nerves of the House. And it's the reason why we are House of Parliament. And for me, a presentation of the nature is not cram work. I should really make the House feel that we are leaders. We are not here as robots to do crammed stuff. Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, we have mentioned before in this House that our country ranks among the worst performers in as far as respecting, protecting, and promoting of human rights is concerned. On paper, this ranking may not ring a bell to the extent that we can make statements one after another without unsettling the tranquility of the perpetrators of injustice. On the other hand, Right Honourable Speaker, any step taken to expose and detail the scorecard leading to that ranking has always proved discomforting to the perpetrators and faced a lot of resistance from the upper echelons of the state. Nonetheless, Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, we shall not relent from exposing the systemic human rights abuses and to plead for the full intervention of Parliament in enlisting this problem and finding a durable solution. Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, should recall that we as legislators take oath of allegiance to the Constitution. We derive our authority from the relevant provisions and the spirit of the Constitution. And it is to the provision of the Constitution that we owe allegiance. To put this in context, Right Honourable Speaker, since the Constitution guarantees and mandates institutions of government to respect, protect, and promote human rights, Parliament ought to be the fort in the defense of the rights and the freedoms of the people. Now, on 17th October 2023, I listened to and read the statement by the Minister of Internal Affairs relating to the arrival and illegal arrest of the Honourable Kyagulanyi and hundreds of NUP supporters, thwarted NUP prayers, and the dispersion of peaceful demonstrations in the Bali constituency. I submit that the Minister's statement was superficial, shallow, tainted with the material falsehoods and misconstruction of the law, and an attempt to justify repression and a clampdown of political dissent in this country. Right, Honourable Speaker, I do not find the minister's statement tenable, since it has fallen short of addressing the wanton abuse of human rights, the growing state of impunity, general breakdown of the rule of law, and the shrinking civic space. For that, I invite this august House to consider that statement as rejected. Right, Honourable Speaker and colleagues, the minister's statement was further depicted government's reluctance to address and remedy human rights violations. I must state here that the minister's statement remains rejected, and I invite this Honourable House to consider it as such. It should be recalled that as a result of the infamous November 2020 shootings, many people lost their lives, whereas scores were maimed. Right, Honourable Speaker, government committed to have the matter investigated. Government committed to have the matter investigated and audited. However, all that has been archived was what has been achieved was the categorization of the victims in clusters of 20 persons who were shot and killed by stray bullets, whereas 34 others were shot and killed for allegedly participating in riots. Right, Honourable Speaker, the state categorized these citizens as rioters and victims, and that was all. The details of the report remain a top secret only to the state, despite the commitment by the President to make the investigation public. It will be exactly 3 years next month since the angel of death was parachuted onto our streets by the very people charged with the duty to protect. Our memories are yet to lose the well-documented evil work of Police Patrol 99917 on the streets of Kampala for 2 solid days, and the legacy of its occupants. Ugandans demand to know whether the occupants of that police vehicle were aliens without a trace, or their evil acts a living testimony to the jungle in which we are entrapped. Right, Honourable Speaker, Mr. Senteza Frank, the bodyguard of Honourable Robert Kyagulanyi Ssentamu, was intentionally knocked down by a military police vehicle, HDDF 2382, at Busega roundabout. There was no follow-up with the family by any state agency 3 years after his killing, or at least an excuse of an investigation report confirming that the murder was premeditated. Right, Honourable Speaker and comrades, Rita Nabbanja was knocked dead off a walkway by a police vehicle registered number UP4841. No report was made, no follow-up with the family. Instead, the family was being warned not to waste time by trying to follow up. Right, Honourable Speaker, where these government vehicles autopiloted that no driver or commander is available to face charges of premeditated murder of these innocent Ugandans? Is the House of Parliament too timid and cowed to demand from the relevant authorities to make a proper count of both the happenings on the fateful days, as well as demanding justice to the victims' families? Right, Honourable Speaker, we have a good recollection of the many innocent Ugandans who were murdered, whereas others were grievously injured while on campaign trail of Honourable Kyagulanyi Robert Ssentamu during the 2021 general elections. Those who were murdered in cold blood, Right, Honourable Speaker, for the record of Parliament, I repeat their names: Mr. Senteza Frank Karibala, Michael Kalinda, Eke Zigewine, Rita Nabbanja, Daniel Cheyune, Ibrahim Mutasa, Wile Kayondo of Kubi Roundabout, Sophie Kusasira of Karere B Market, Beka Katoro Bwama, short from Namlanda, Martin Owekiche, tusubira Elijah Mukiibi of Luweero, Umaru Semakula of Entebbe, Katwere Kimuli of Seta, Musi Alan of Kiteto of Mukono, Peter Mwanje of Nansana, Mugerwa William of Wankulukuku, Batio Sophie of Obongi, Olionji Robert of Obongi, Fungaro Moro of Obongi, Shaba Sheraf of Omonji, Akim Abire of Obongi, deliberately drowned by the UPDF on the 15th of January 2021. Bukere Nuhu, abducted from Mukono municipality, murdered and dumped in Kalangala. Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, the relatives of the deceased are still reeling in bereavement, with no hope of ever receiving justice for the death of their loved ones. Right Honourable Speaker, who question whether the People's Parliament is complicit in these wanton murders and therefore unable to demand accountability and justice. Right Honourable Speaker, the fate of missing Ugandans. On more than one occasion, Right Honourable Speaker, I have tabled to this Honourable House a list of Ugandans missing over the last 2 to 4 years. These persons were picked from their workplaces and homes by state security agencies. Detailed accounts of their arrest and eventual disappearance have been provided by families and friends to whoever cared to listen. Only the state can account for their whereabouts. Right Honourable Speaker, is Parliament so frightened, complicit, or disinterested in demanding the government to prioritize human rights guarantees before anything else, for the sake of building a durable human rights record and entrenching the rule of law? Did the Parliament buy into the most flimsy and derogatory reasoning of government and its agencies, that the addresses and next of kin of the missing persons are not known? But, Honourable Speaker, for the benefit of those who might, for one reason or another, missed out on the record of missing persons, for whom the government has ignored accountability and justice, the following Ugandans matter: Moses Mbabazi, Dennis Zimula, Shafiki Wangolo, Martin Lukwago, Peter Kiria, John Damulira, Michael Semudu, Muhammad Kanata, John Bosco Chibalama, who was last seen by the Prime Minister, Vincent Nalumoso, Yuda Sempija, Musisi Mbowa, Mustafa Luwemba, Hassan Mubiru, Isima Sesazi, Godfrey Kisembo, George Kasumba, and Joseph Baguma. Right Honourable Speaker, those are missing Ugandans, and the record has been ascertained by the Human Rights Commission, and the Parliament must, as of necessity and duty, be interested. Right Honourable Speaker, the victimization and targeted murder of Muslims become fashionable in Uganda, right Honourable Speaker, today, for any attack or murder committed, for the state targets Muslims, whom they then indiscriminately kill or imprison without trial. For instance, following the twin bombings of Kampala on 16th of November 2021, Ewan Musa Mudasil alias Mose was shot dead at Wai Sekawempe Division. On the same day, another suspect, Muhammad Kiriowa alias Musa Kiriowa, was shot dead in cold blood. The following day, on 17th November 2021, Sheikh Mohammed Abbas Chirevu was shot dead while on handcuffs by security agencies. This has been the case in many other high-profile cases. Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, by law, any arresting officer is allowed reasonable or necessary force in effecting an arrest. The force employed should be proportional to the circumstances. The use of firearms during arrests amounts to excessive force if the suspect is unarmed. Even if some of the suspects were purportedly evading arrest, the firearm should only be used to incapacitate the suspect and deter evasion, but not to kill. Right Honourable Speaker, reports indicate that most of the victims who have been killed were allegedly handcuffed, were already handcuffed, and in essence posed no threat warranting use of a firearm. I would like to throw a quick challenge, Right Honourable Speaker, to this Honourable House to make a random check across any police cell or government prison. The shocking discovery will be that you have more Muslims in detention without trial. Right Honourable Speaker, does Parliament consider every Muslim guilty of terrorism at birth? Why isn't Parliament not keenly following and investigating the witch hunt of Muslims using the fact of information available in so many government prisons and other illegal detention centers? What happened to the men in uniform who carried out these cold-blooded murders in broad daylight? Are they bound by the laws of the land? Right Honourable Speaker, detention without trial. Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, those of us who have not sat in any history class at least have read some literature on Uganda's political history. Detention of people without trial was a common phenomenon in the immediate post-colonial regimes to deter citizens from agitation for freedoms and to contain and keep political opponents at bay. The 1995 Constitution, despite its current mutilated state, has maintained and sustained the 48 hours rule under custody before one is produced before a competent court or released. The essence of this is to ensure speedy and fair trial and the avoidance of keeping innocent persons in detention without just cause. Over the last 3 years, Right Honourable Speaker, the arrest and detention of several Ugandans without trial represents one of the worst abuses of human rights. In the worst case scenario, where the state desired to hold on to detainees without probable cause, trumped-up charges have been raised against them. These charges cannot be sustained in any court, for they lack premise. Many such victims, including civilians, have ended up in military courts in total violation of the Constitution. Right Honourable Speaker, in 2021, over 500 NUP supporters were arrested in different parts of the country on various flimsy charges. Most of them were released after 1 year without trial. Some had to pay a ransom to gain their freedom from various military and civilian detention centers. In the group of 2021, Right Honourable Speaker, over 50 are still languishing in Chitalia and Luzira prisons without trial. 28 of these have been produced in the Army court-martial, but their trial has never taken shape more than 3 years after their arrest, including one Olivia Lutaya, a mother of 3 little children, who was arrested immediately after birth on the 8th of May, 2021. But, Honourable Speaker, the question of the day is the People's Parliament dozing on duty, complicit, or timid to demand of the military to account for their actions and conduct in the court-martial, where hundreds of Ugandans are casually produced as a show without consequence. Right Honourable Speaker, is the UPDF subordinate to the laws of the land, or the country was long captured by a subtle military junta without an official proclamation of the rule by decree? Right Honourable Speaker, torture in detention facilities. Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, the growing culture by the state security apparatus to torture suspects while in detention. The case of Samuel Masereka, the registrar of NUP in the Kasese district. Of course, the famous case of Kakwenza Rukira Basaija are classic examples of classic examples for people who have ever been abducted by security personnel and subjected to despicable, torturous treatment. Other similar incidents occurred in the recent past. For instance, when the Honorable Kyagulanyi was arrested for Marua and tortured while in detention, Honorable Zake was on several occasions faced it rough to the extent of almost losing his sight, and many other incidents. We cannot say that these are isolated incidents. Right, Honourable Speaker, I sense danger on muzzling dissenting voices and limiting space for holding accountable those in power. If this happened to them today, and no statement or remedial action has been taken by government, how shall we all be spared if our turn comes? In the recent past, Right Honourable Speaker, this august House has condemned such violations, but same old habits have continued to manifest mainly through enforced disappearances, arbitrary illegal arrests and detention, torture in detention, detention without trial, unlawful detentions, extrajudicial killings, property grabbing, political persecution, assaulting journalists and other professionals in the course of duty, among others. Right Honourable Speaker, human rights violations in fishing communities. Right Honourable Speaker, in 2017, the President of Uganda directed that the UPDF be deployed at major lakes in Uganda following a reported depletion of fish stocks due to over and illegal fishing. Following that deployment, the fishing communities have on numerous occasions cried out on gross violation of their rights by men and women in uniform. Reports of rape, defilement, destruction of properties, murders, unjustified arrests, and illegal closure of many landing sites have been reported. Part of the response to these cries by Parliament was the enactment of the Fisheries and Aquaculture Act 2013. The continued presence of the UPDF and their selective actions against citizens must arouse the curiosity of any serious House of Parliament. Right Honourable Speaker, entire communities have been displaced, rendered homeless and jobless. Many persons have been killed, maimed and dishonored. Right Honourable Speaker, do the victims of these illegal actions have any representative in Parliament? Right Honourable Speaker, in the circumstances and absurd as described above, we have the following demands for the government to meet without excuse. One, full accountability for the November 2020 murders in Kampala and beyond, including the actions taken on police patrol 99917 and those others listed above, whose occupants were well captured by different media houses and vigilant citizens, shooting live ammunition towards unarmed citizens, and intentional killing of opposition supporters in questionable accidents. Two, accountability for all arrested Muslim clerics and ordinary Muslims throughout the country. A case of a minority faith having majority prisoners. Three, accountability for all the reported 18 disappeared Ugandans, as confirmed by the Uganda Human Rights Commission. Four, accountability for all political prisoners rotting in numerous jails without trial. Five, release of all political prisoners in the court-martial. Six, demand that the Minister of Justice appears before Parliament to detail the House on detention without trial. Seven, accountability for killings by the military in various fishing communities. I so pray, Right Honourable Speaker.
Thank you, Rob. Honorable colleagues, I have seen an aspect of Parliament being asked a lot of questions, and I think Rob will join me in answering those questions because he's a senior leader in Parliament. But Parliament, when I was checking in our records, honorable colleagues, we have given time to issues of human rights. Because I've seen it outside, some members saying, no, they don't consider issues of human rights, they don't. On 18th of August 2022, the House considered and debated the report of our own Human Rights Committee on the status of human rights and human rights violations in the country. On 8th, it was a 150-page report, and Parliament gave it time. We debated it, we gave it attention, and we adopted resolutions. On 8th of February 2022, the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs was given space to present a statement here on reports of alleged human rights violations by the state security operatives. And the issues of torture in this report were extensively handled. And this is on the Hansard. On the 7th of July, 2023, again, the Honorable Nabbanja, Flavia, yes, and I'm a Mpuuga, so I don't know much Uganda. It might sound like a Mpuuga, okay? Yeah, but Cassandra, woman MP Cassandra, raised the issue of human rights and torture, which had come up on international delegations. And the Honorable Cecilia Guar, in fact, is the one who gave a very good guidance, but we discussed this issue. On 18th of July, 2023, the leader of opposition, Honorable Mathias Mpuga, gave his response to the State of the Nation address. And he took a human rights approach. And we had an extensive debate on this. On 3rd of August 2022, the leader of opposition was again given opportunity where he made a response to the State of the Nation address and where issues of human rights were again raised and debated. On 28th of September 2022, the leader of opposition raised issues of matters of forced disappearances and torture of civilians by security operatives, which was responded to, and I think some of the matters are issues which we are trying to work out outside, and the minister will update us on that. So, when you look, these are some of just of the few occasions. When you look at some of these few occasions, just in this time alone, I wouldn't think it would be right to indict Parliament that we have not given space to issues of human rights. We have given them space, the answer is there, and the record is very clear. Now, colleagues, the issue is Parliament has where it stops. I don't know whether Parliament, I can order, because I have over 500 members of Parliament. I think I order each one of you to go and arrest one of these generals and soldiers. I assign you, you bring them here. Then Parliament will be seen to be biting. Otherwise, for us as Parliament, for my own understanding, is that we can only work through our committees. Our Committee on Human Rights, as provided for under Rule 185 of our Rules of Procedure, which has been consistent in giving reports. And if there is any other report that is pending, that is ready, I would welcome it. Now, these committees consist of both opposition and the NRM. Honorable colleagues, if there are other issues to do with human rights, and you prepare a motion, I will give that motion space on the order paper. So as a leadership, issues of human rights are so very, very dear to us, and would give them serious attention. And if there is anyone who knows that he has them, please bring them and we shall give them attention. But what we must know is that Parliament has where it stops. And the unfortunate bit of it is things on which we didn't play any role are brought for us here to execute. So we depend on information coming from our colleagues. But what is very critical is that as a Parliament, when we adopt resolutions, then the minister should bring action taken reports on the resolutions. So executive, please crack check for me if there are pending action taken reports on issues of human rights. We also bring them out and without hand. Honorable Sereko.
Right, Honorable Speaker. On the matter of arrest of Moses.
Procedure.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. This particular statement.
Honorable Nwagaba, we agreed
yes,
that for procedure to be fluent, we move with the rule.
In respect of Rule 92 of our Rules of Procedure, the statement by the Leader of Opposition is in response to the statement by the Minister of State for Internal Affairs, which was made on Tuesday.
But Honorable 92.
I'm coming up. Which was made on Tuesday, and the House had not debated the minister's statement, which was made in accordance with Rule 52 or 53. And unlike Rule 66, Right Honourable Speaker, which is clear that you can adjourn once you adjourn under 65, the following day business begins where it stopped. Rule 92 is not very clear what happens to the business that was being conducted when the House is adjourned or suspended because of a disorder. So I invite you to invoke your powers under Rule 8 and allow a debate to proceed in accordance with Rule 92, but maybe moderate in the terms of Rule 66. But my biggest other worry is if we debate statements without specific resolutions, what shall we gain and what shall we do as the House? Would it not also be procedural right that in view of the two statements, which are revealing in nature from the Leader of Opposition and from the Minister of State, that maybe the two be subjected to one of the committees of this House to come up with a report and specific recommendations for the House to pronounce itself on. I beg to be guided.
Thank you. Now, we usually mix up the old rules and the new rules. So that's why we get a problem. For example, under Rule 8, I don't have that power. Under Rule 7 is where I have that power. Okay? Yeah, so I just wanted that to be clarified. But I'm considering LOP's statement under Rule 53 as a statement on its own. The statement that came from the minister, we dealt with that business, the way it went that way. I'm not reopening it. The good thing, the one of ROP is more or less a response. Is more or less a response to that statement on top of other issues which the ROP has brought out. So substantively, when you debate it, you end up capturing all the issues. So let us first allow a debate, the way I had opened it, then along the way, I will see how best to guide. Because we shall also, for example, ROP has made prayers in his statement. Otherwise, we cannot make resolutions on statements. If we wanted resolution, then we would now come in form of a motion so that we can have very clear resolutions adopted by the House. But for now, I wanted to open up for a few members and then I'll call on the minister, he comes in, and then we see how best I can guide on the next procedure. And the same one, Chivumbi?
I'm raising on a point of procedure. The demands are specific to government. The demands are specific to responsible ministers. For us to have a meaningful debate, it would be proper that government first responds. Then when government responds, then a debate can ensue. Because these demands are not for an individual MP to speak to. We have put these demands specifically to government to respond. And our own prayer and your indulgence, that government is much present here, represented by the Prime Minister, the Chief Whip, the Internal Affairs Minister, the Minister of Trade, the Minister of Finance, and the whole front bench. And would it be procedure, right Honorable Chair, that we first get a response from the Minister, from government officially to our key demand, because no MP is going to apologize. No MP is going to answer for all those requests. This demand ends up with a list of demands that only government can commit to.
I know the minister has to answer, but Honorable Chivumbi, if you had the statement properly, there are questions which were put to Parliament. And they were very clear, not one, not two, not three, which were depicting Parliament as having failed. Honorable Chivumbi feels I answered enough. Because you see, Parliament as a body, we can only demand accountability. Only accountability from government. Now we cannot be an implementing agency. We cannot be an implementing arm of government. So, Honorable Minister, let me first, Honorable Minister, you wanted, and it's a discretion upon the presiding officer to allow debate or not allow debate. Okay? So, Honorable Unserious procedure.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, you had clearly called me to make a statement or to give my views and opened up debate. And the discretion for who should debate in the House depends on you, on any report. However, the answers, whether sufficient or not, lie on the members to adjudicate. And if there is any matter contentious, it can be moved either by persuasion of sides or by vote. Therefore, the procedural matter I would like to raise is as to whether you have now overruled yourself as regards the point of stating that I should be here to speak. Because you had already ruled
I haven't overruled myself. I only have an impatient member who is not allowing me to first consult further, and then I come to him. I'm still doing consultations. Okay? No, we are going to have a quick debate on this, but I just wanted to first hear from the minister if he had anything to say.
I've keenly followed what the Honourable Leader of Opposition made in his statement. He raised many issues, some specific to my statement, others new, many old and already responded to, like you rightly said, earlier on a number of occasions on the floor of this House. But I want to say almost all unverified. So I find it difficult to respond to unverified concerns raised by the LOP without prejudice to what he said. But that said,
thank you, Honourable Minister, for giving. Well, you know you are one of the best officers this country has produced. And I have a lot of regards for you. When you say that the statement has unverified information. Oh, the microphone is not on? Okay.
IT?
Yes. Would you be kind enough to tell us what is unverified in this statement and what sort of verification would you want?
I think we are now going into the substantive content of the paper when you want me to respond to each line. But if I can speak to your request, I saw LOP trying to galvanize effort for his paper, include even the claim that Muslims are targeted, which I found objectionable. And then he also talked about issues which are still sub judice in courts of law, which I also found objectionable. So I would want to say this, Right Honorable Speaker and members. I want to say this, and you guide on the course of action. Like I said, many of these have been responded to. The response could have been unsatisfactory, according to LOP, but that doesn't close the avenue for accountability, because we have courts in this country, we have the Uganda Human Rights Commission, we have many avenues through which these issues can be addressed to their satisfaction. That said, I want to commit on the floor of this parliament that government believes in the rule of law, and we believe in constitutionalism. But also we want to say that we shall guarantee civic space to the opposition and all Ugandans to exercise their rights and freedoms, but that right is also not duty-free. It's not obligation neutral, that it should be exercised with responsibility, with respect to the rights of others. I beg to submit, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable colleagues, the leader of opposition has raised issues, but also honorable members have their own issues and submission they want to make on the same. So, Honorable Sereko, starting with you.
I would like to thank the leader of opposition, the Honorable Mathias Mpuga, for his statement, but also categorically pick on this one. It is so touching from a community I come from, which is the Muslim community, Honorable Minister. 5th June 2023, the home of Sheikh Yunus Kamoga, you all witnessed on TV, was raided. Children were beaten, women were beaten, and others were incarcerated. The police came up with a report 3 days later that it had apprehended 13 of those that were in the operation. But up to now, we don't know how far and what punishment or how far those investigations reached. The issue of the late Sheikh Chirevu was never addressed to the family after the twin bombings. Honorable Minister, what a marginalized community like ours demands, because it has been marginalized for so long, this is a reality. Since 1900, when territories were being parceled out in Uganda, we only go to one. So this is not recent. This is pain that we are carrying, whether it's promotion at duty, whether it's the political reality across all divides that we see today here. From the front bench of the cabinet to the judiciary to the executive, it's real. And we have to box ourselves in the room and not carry this only as a weapon of reflection of human rights, but proper marginalization of the community. There is pain that goes through our people. and it is real. Whether it is this side, the other side, or any other side. When you look at the reflection of the cabinets of every government, the Muslims, whether it is in opposition or in government, do not have very many seats to boast of. It's true, I was the chairman of the Equal Opportunities Committee here. Whether it's in the judiciary, regardless of the fact, Right Honorable Speaker, that we have over 5,000 lawyers, we don't even have 5 high court judges. So let's talk about it holistically. And therefore, no single young Muslim child should be raised up to have fear for law enforcement, arising out of the fact that there is collective punishment and indiscriminate arrest. The report I'm talking about of lynching of people in a school is real. Therefore, there is actual fear from a community. And I know we can address this in the civic space. As regards other matters of human rights, of incarceration of people, we should be talking about the Constitution and stating it clearly that if someone is not tried after the mandatory date, they should be released. The Constitution is very clear. So what we want in specifics is just a response from the minister to come here and actions that we resolve as Parliament, that we encourage government or we enjoin on government to come back with proper accountability for every citizen that is either within its custody or that is in courts of law. And nerves of people will be calmed down. Do not take it as an attack, but take it from the issue, from the side of the victims. I'm speaking on behalf of a community that I belong to. Whenever you go to them, the clerics say, we are not so sure of tomorrow, because we are picked up at times indiscriminately.
Thank you.
Honorable Minister, you need to calm down the nerves of the people in the Muslim community with answers that are real.
Thank you. Honorable Kwizera.
And the issue of the debate is the policy, failure in policy, or is it by policy that these things are being done? Is it criminalization of a group? Have members of parliament failed? And failures of individual officers, can it be attributed to members of parliament? Can it be attributed to all members of government? So whoever has a responsibility has an accountability to make. I would have liked that the Speaker guides, if it pleases him, that since we cannot cross-examine the leader of opposition, the report be submitted to the relevant committee, where even the members of the families of those ones who have their people in prison will be accorded an opportunity to come and appear, and then the minister responsible also appears there, and we see the failures of government agencies who have failed to do their work, and in the end they tarnish the name of government. Honorable members and the Right Honorable Speaker, people who fight government are not necessarily those in opposition or ADF. They are those people who are employed in government, but they are dissatisfied and they fight government within. So I would think anybody who tortures a citizen is actually an enemy of government. So how shall we do accountability when we are not specific? So we should be specific and scale down this to individual officers or departments that have failed. Otherwise, when we now listen to the law, this chamber we are in cannot listen to evidence and cannot cross-examine. So would I, if it pleases you, refer this business to the committee relevant?
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm happy with the report that was submitted. As the LOP was speaking, my blood was shaking because of the pain of those families. I am only disappointed on 2 things. One, the report seems to describe human rights as only political rights or the rights of fishermen without regard to others. Right Honorable Speaker, there are people in Karamoja who are listening now and feeling bad that in the report of LOP, in that radar, his radar could not read the other parts of the country. It could not read. Maybe there will be another motion it will bring for the other parts of the country where we have people in cells. Or all those ones will wait for another debate on this matter. Because if we're talking about human rights, it should not be only restricted to the political rights of someone. And if somebody is defending his human right, is it only for Central or for the whole country? So, Right Honorable Speaker, I agree with my colleague, Honorable Kwizera, that this report be taken to the committee so that the rest of Ugandans can also submit and be heard, those that don't have opposition.
Thank you. Honorable.
But I pray it gets my attention. Mr. Speaker, I am lucky that I taught in the army for 10 years. And the general before us here knows it very well that military police is meant to discipline infantry. But when did the military police start coming on the streets to beat people? Mr. Speaker, I pray to the Minister and Minister of Defense, go back to the previous norms. Military police was never coming out. And now everybody is worried. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, Article 50 of the Constitution, Article 51, 52, gives a lot of powers to the Uganda Human Rights Commission. But, Mr. Speaker, when you talk about these investigations, the Human Rights Commission is mandated to even put up commissions of inquiry, where they invite people to interface with them. But what's happening with this commission, headed by Madam Nangadia, it has become a face value commission. Wangadia. So I pray, Mr. Speaker, that the issue of violation of human rights is not on one person. Mr. Speaker, I know members of parliament. We shall go for primaries. You know what happens between your side and our side? Everybody suffers. Any method of mishandling people, not dealing with the rights of the people, is not fair to parliament. I also agree. Let us use this Committee of Human Rights. But, Mr. Speaker, I still insist, with your powers and the Commission, let us look at the Committee of Human Rights. Is it supposed to be headed, is it an accountability committee or it's a sessional committee? This committee must be under the opposition to scrutinize what is done. Whenever I talk about beating people, use of guns, it is government. So, this, I can take the information, I remember.
Now, honorable colleagues, I guided on information. Now, for me to keep track of the time. Okay? Yes. So,
To give my
Honorable
honorable
Chimbumbi has
colleague-
switched on afresh. No.
The information I wanted to give my honorable colleague is that we demanded all this from government. It is only proper and prudent from our side to demand the minister responsible to respond to these other things, not to comment on so many other issues.
Thank you, insist. The General Minister of Internal Affairs, kindly, take back military police in this home. These days I even see them running traffic.
When people were undressing civilians on Kampala Road because they were merely putting on yellow, that too was callous. And the leader of opposition did not raise it. And that was not done by government. When matters happen, those are matters that affect all of us. But the leader of opposition today did not talk about it, was selective, and this is unusual for him, Right Honorable Speaker. And when it comes to matters of human rights, I have been in this parliament on the green benches. I have heard parliament give critical time, debate, and attention to matters of human rights. When NUP was asked to go to human rights and submit names, reports have come out that no, those names are fake. Are we playing to the gallery, Right Honorable Speaker? Or we are only addressing matters that affect us? So when you talk about human rights, don't make it that all of us are human and all of us are affected. And I want to say, Right Honorable Speaker, that the government of the National Resistance Movement respects human rights. The Constitution and all matters are actually in order. If there is a missing person, Right Honorable Speaker, there is procedure to apply to court by writ of habeas corpus to get that person.
Thank you.
I submit.
Honorable Babiku.
Right Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity. I have listened to both of the presentations. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, as we seek for accountabilities, let us respect the government in power. Ugandans elected the president and all the leaders, including members of parliament. If we do not respect us as leaders, let us not expect that others will respect us. So first of all, let's respect the government in power. Two, the assumption that suspects and victims only belong to opposition is wrong. Because I have people from my own sub-region who do not belong to opposition, but they have been arrested because they are suspects. So we should not tolerate illegalities. Uganda has several rules, several laws. And as members of parliament, we participate in legislation. If we do not respect the laws, who else will respect the laws? Therefore, as parliament, we should not condone abuse of our laws that we legislate. I experienced a bad incident in my region. People got murdered, others got hacked. But many people from opposition in my area kept quiet about the people who died, but they were raising issues about the suspects. It means we are not fair. There is a life that is lost. There is a suspect. Therefore, if we are talking about human rights, we should broaden our understanding. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Now, here when a colleague is speaking, when you don't believe in their opinion or agree with their opinion, it's their opinion. They can never be out of order for submitting, for giving their views. When your chance comes, we shall also listen to your views. Jonam.
Thank you very much, Right Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity. I have just one plea I want to make to the government. And this is based on an interaction I have ever had with some policemen. And the fact that I want to implore the government over is check with your security personnel and whether they are doing some of these things with their hearts or they are doing some of the things in annoyance. Many times we hear of order from above. Why I am asking if they are doing it from their heart or they are just responding to orders from above and they are not happy about it. And one of them told me, Emmanuel, I want you to know that many times we even realize that what we are being asked to do is wrong, but we still go and do it and we are hurt inside.
And that is what I implore the government to look at. That you are having people that you are ordering to do certain things, but in their hearts, they are not happy. And I don't know how far they will continue to be happy without also reacting otherwise. I am not asking for them to turn against the government, but I'm asking that let's look seriously into that. I am bringing this because I had my colleague, Honorable Kwizera, actually brought out a point which is very important, that somebody who has done something wrong has done something wrong, and we cannot cover. And you never know that sometimes some of these people are doing it to sabotage you. So take note of that, and I urge you still, as I repeat, that check this, because you never know how far they go with what is happening in their hearts. Thank you, Madam.
Father Nen.
Thank you, Right Honorable Speaker. I listened to the report of the Leader of Opposition, and actually, he revealed his unhidden nature. Violence is not only happening in central Uganda, and therefore it should be assessed in that way. There are gun violence happening in the greater part of northern Uganda. Karamojong or some rustlers are abducting people, killing people. I've not heard in his report. They are per issue. The people of Achula are being murdered, being abducted. I've not heard in his report. Right Honorable Speaker, I'm happy that now we are talking as leaders. I'm happy that now I'm in the House. For the past 2 days, I was even having a feeling of resigning from being a member of Parliament because of the way we've been behaving here. But I'm happy now we are talking as national leaders. And we need to wear the national lenses when we are talking. We don't need to talk because my brother is suffering, my brother. Right Honorable Speaker, in 1980s, some people ferried matoke and milk to feed the lion in the bush. The lion came home with a hope that would protect and would promote them, would give them position. They even composed songs, Anyanyasina and Dola, to tell the people of northern Uganda. Now we are talking of, Muslim clerics being arrested. So many religious leaders in northern Uganda were arrested. So many priests were arrested and brought to Luzira. About 9 priests. I'm a priest and I know and I feel. Now, you are only talking about what is taking place around here. We need to appreciate that national reconciliation have to take place. National reconciliation have to be promoted. Confrontational approach to any issue must stop. And this is my position. Right Honorable Speaker, I am aware that transitional justice policy was brought to your table, and up to now it has not yet been discussed. I pray that this transitional justice have to be what? Have to be approached by all of us, and we look at the reparation policy so that this kind of happenings should not happen in the future, and those will also be mistreated must also be paid by the government. Otherwise, Mr. Leader of Opposition, you have not said anything.
Thank you. Honorable colleagues, this is resolutions. The Leader of Opposition has put very clear questions to the Minister. Honorable Minister, I therefore give you 30 days to respond to the issues raised by the Leader of Opposition. Where you feel you need clarification, you write to the Leader of Opposition formally, because sometimes we don't know which kind of clarification you're seeking. You write him where you feel the statement is not detailed enough. You ask for this detail, and then you respond. We come here in 30 days and we handle the issue. LOP?
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. I would like to initially appreciate the honourable colleagues who have made inputs in this statement by way of their submissions. I appreciate the concerns of the Honourable Nakut And I want to invite you to read the list on page 5. You'll see that Obongi is not in Masaka. So we try as much as possible to scan the country. But remember that perpetrators also undertake cover-up of their tracks. And therefore, that's why in my statement, not necessarily by what we're inviting Parliament, I'm inviting members of Parliament to be alive to the troubles in this country. I can understand where my brother, the Honorable Kajurenge, is coming from. That's why we'll speak in whispers about injustice, but not bring them here, and he's expecting me to do his job. I invite you, Honorable Comrade, to rise to the occasion. I'll defend your right to defend your position day and night. I'll defend your right to be what you want to be. And I'll be the last person to accept anyone to mistreat you for your beliefs. So I invite you to be alive. Don't speak in whispers. If the violators are your neighbors, come and speak about it here. Please don't speak in whispers. Honorable Jessica, I'll look out for the dictionary meaning of the word respect, so that I can understand how a government is respected in the face of injustice. I can promise you, I'll look for it. I want to thank the Reverend Father Onen. You see, this is about our country. There are reasons why you were initially a priest and now in Parliament. And because priests receive deeper training must be followed by deeper knowledge. We can really speak over these issues with a clear understanding of where we're coming from. Honourable Speaker, I wanted to respond to those honourable members with the utmost respect to understand where these matters are. And we need to understand why the minority, quote unquote, would speak and demand for justice. And I agree there should be reconciliation. Reconciliation starts with justice. Don't simply say, let's reconcile where you get away with injustice. Honourable Speaker, you have invited the minister and offered them 30 days. Honestly, Honourable Speaker, 30 days is actually allow them to go and even cover up more. We're talking about people in detention for 4 years without trial. And the Minister for Internal Affairs is hiding behind sub judice, as if the Constitution was deleted. The Minister is a lawyer like myself, is aware of what happens when there's no trial after 365 days. And he's telling us sub judice. I have supplied information as to the military vehicles that knock down people deliberately. He wants me to go and look for them. And in his 30 days, look for his officers, Honourable Speaker. The minister, we have talked about some of these issues. We are demanding for 18 disappeared persons. What did you talk about to them? So what did you say about the 18 missing persons? So that we can go or give you 30 days to come back and speak about them. So the Honourable Minister and the Prime Minister. The Prime Minister says he knows where Chibalama is and she needs 30 days. Honourable Speaker. So, Honourable Speaker, I want to thank you for your patience because these are the reasons why we are here. Whether we have 30 bills to pass. Just an example, Honourable Speaker. I talked about it in my statement. that in order to respond to the cries of fishermen in the fishing communities, we enacted a law that offered them protection. But after, even when the law is in place, they are still being hunted like aliens. And the minister wants 30 days? Right, Honourable Speaker, we have reported here severally that fishing is being undertaken by government officials, including ministers. It's on the Hansard that one of the ministers bears boats to the name Wacha Waseme. They were initially in blue color, they are now in black color. Same people, right, Honourable Speaker? With due respect and with the indulgence, they don't need 30 days, they need next week to report on action taken on this. At the beginning of this time, right, Honourable Speaker, I ask 1 minute. Listen and support over 10 families of the missing persons to pay school fees for their children. And the minister wants 30 days. I asked the Honourable Prime Minister that I escort her to go and see Chibalama. And she needs 30 days. And I want to put it to her that the blood of Chibalama, if it's dead, is on your hands.
No, right, Honourable Prime Minister, respect the House. When you enter the House, you first sit, and then we...
No, you see, assuming she had a gun.
Thank you.
Can I conclude, Honourable Speaker?
Thank you.
Let me conclude, Right Honourable Speaker. And the Right Honourable Speaker, that is the leader of government business and her demeanor. And assuming she had a gun in this room, she would be shooting all of us.
Prime Minister will respond. I'll give the Prime Minister a chance to
The
respond.
Prime Minister will respond after producing Chibalama to this country.
Thank you. LOP, thank you.
Right Honourable Speaker, with due respect.
Point of order. Just allow a point of order.
Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues.
Honourable colleagues, let's listen to one another.
Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, in the year 2022, you chaired a meeting, which meeting was attended by the leader of opposition. Where I was, we brought the report. You chaired that meeting. The second meeting was chaired by the Speaker herself. And we all agreed that I present a report on this floor. We came, uploaded a report. The Honourable Speaker, at the time of presentation, my brother here said they were not ready. And therefore, since that time, that report is with you as Parliament. Is this brother of mine in order to insinuate that I have Kibarama? You are aware that the Electoral Commission released the roadmap. And so, our brothers in the opposition think they can use Parliament, to shout, to show the public. Honourable Speaker, is it in order for our brothers and sisters on the opposition to use the platform of Parliament to you know, become, by the way, you are becoming something different. You are becoming something different. We are here for the common good of everybody in the country. Right, Honorable Speaker, is the human rights only in the Buganda Sam region? Right, Honorable Speaker, I now request you to prevail over our brothers on the opposite side. The point of order I'm bringing, is it in order for my brother? For my brother, please allow me to present. Is it in order for my brother?
Thank you,
to
Right
keep
Honorable.
insinuating that I have the blood of Chibarama, I have what? When in actual sense, I'm not a security person. Is in order.
Thank you. Now, you see, Honorable colleagues, Honorable colleagues, I have consulted a few leaders outside Parliament, and I've also read through the answered how some of these cases used to be handled and all that. I think the best way, number one, the leader of government business and the leader of opposition, you need to start talking outside Parliament. Listen, I have checked how the ratings band was doing it with Professor Atigo. I have checked. I'm told times have changed. But when you talk, because look, when you talk, you can't fail to get an answer. You even respect each other. What I'm seeing here, we are going to end up having disrespect. I request from both sides, okay? I have a duty of presiding over this house. Please have respect for each other. Prime Minister have respect, colleagues have respect. Let us have respect. Because you see, we have been peaceful. Now, but now, the Prime Minister, I see, what has disturbed her so much is the issue of going on record. On the issue of Chibarama, she has produced Chibarama. So, Rob, you said the Prime Minister has Chibarama. Okay? Justify your statement.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker, with the indulgence of the Right Honourable Speaker, I played a video in this Parliament on record with the Prime Minister speaking to the media that actually Chibarama is in their hands, that he is a criminal, that he was arrested, and that was record here, Right Honourable Speaker. The Prime Minister is not going to really impeach our confidence of demanding for Chibarama. If Chibarama is on her farm and paying a ransom, let her produce Chibarama. She said it. Now, and that's the reason. That's the reason why, Right Honourable Speaker, humbly with respect, we decline the 30 days for them to come and report on these issues, and one by one, Right Honourable Speaker, the Prime Minister should not come to the House intimidating the House. There are demands that must be responded to with decorum and in sequence. Right Honourable Speaker.
Thank you. Government Chief Whip wanted to add.
Right Honourable Speaker and Honourable colleagues, I rise, Mr. Speaker, to seek for your guidance in two respects. Guidance number one, in order to make what you have directed much more easier, and this has been our request all along, Right Honourable Speaker. When you look at page 4 and page 5, of the statement by the Leader of Opposition. We have always requested for better particulars of the person allegedly abducted. And when you look at page 4 and page 5, we are only stating names. Honorable colleagues, we all have residences. Right, Honorable Speaker, that is my point of guidance number 1. In meetings you chaired, in meetings chaired by the Right Honorable Speaker herself, as government we have always asked. State Obua Dennis Amson, a resident of Amendit Village, Awori Parish, Bako Sub-County, Juri County, Leptong District, reportedly abducted on Kampala Road. This is what we need, and we still pray for that as you guide. My guidance number 2 that I'm seeking for, Right Honorable Speaker, I have looked at the list, listed by the Leader of Opposition. Just like the Minister of Internal Affairs stated before, there are those that were investigated before. There are those that are still under investigation, including a committee of parliament. There is an investigation before the Committee on Human Rights, and there are cases that are in court. I want to mention names investigated before and put it on record, because I want to ask, for how long shall we come here to demand for the same names? Mr. Speaker, on the 10th of October 2023, Uganda Human Rights Commission released a report on the alleged cases of missing NUP supporters, and this was issued by the chairperson and signed by the chairperson of the commission. This is an area where a number of names are appearing on the list, already investigated by a constitutional commission mandated to do that. Number 1, Mr. Mbabazi Moses appears on the list, already investigated. Number 2, Chiria Peter, already on the list, investigated. Damulira John, Semudu Michael, Kunata Muhammad, Chibalama John Bosco, Musisi Mbowa, Mubiru Hassan, Isma. The report is here, and Right Honorable Speaker, this is the report of a constitutional commission. I beg to lay on table. I beg to seek for your guidance in those 2 respects.
Now, Honorable Government Chief Whip, the Minister requested for time. Oh, okay. The Minister has confirmed he never asked for time. But there are questions we should answer. Okay? Minister, if information is available, you can answer on Tuesday. Yeah. Or if you feel the answer you've given now is satisfactory, you say this answer is satisfactory. We don't have these people. It goes on record. And we know it is sorted.
Right Honorable Speaker and Honorable Members, like I said before, and like has been amplified by the lead of government business and the government chief whip, these are issues we have responded to. Otherwise, you want us to regurgitate what we brought already. But we don't have anything new to submit on the matters.
LOP.
Dear Right Honorable Speaker, I want to thank most sincerely Comrade Amason Obua for the document he has laid. And I want to agree with him that the Human Rights Commission, which is the Constitutional Commission, confirmed 18 missing persons, Right Honorable Speaker. And their list does not differ from what we have and have submitted on the floor of Parliament, including Chibalama in the hands of the Prime Minister. Right Honourable Speaker, if there is a government
Order.
Right Honourable Speaker. Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, it is on record that Chibarama, according to their report, was arrested in 2019. In 2019, I was a humble commissioner in this house. Secondly, Right Honourable Speaker, I am not an arresting officer. I have never arrested anybody in my life. And so, is this leader of opposition in order to insist, despite the report, Right Honourable Speaker, the leader of opposition, like I said earlier, has always been with us, and we are always in touch. By the way, I'm very close to the leader of opposition. Very close. If you didn't know, we have been having reports, myself and him, from police, now Human Rights Commission. He's aware. By the way, he might even be aware where Kibarama is than me.
Point of order. Which point of order?
Honourable Speaker, is it in order for the leader of opposition to continue insisting that the leader of government business, me, I have Kibarama when in actual sense he knows I'm not an arresting officer? Is it in order?
Now, honourable colleagues, but there is a point of order raised. Yeah. Honourable colleagues, I think we are going to lose focus of the major issue. Now, I remember when we had that meeting, because Honourable LOP, you would make it easy. The government side is saying the government is saying you have given me a name, Joseph Baguma, George Kasumba, Isma Sesaz. Where do I start from? Okay? That's what they are saying. If for example, I gave you a name now from Uganda and I say, Tayebwa William, I need you to produce him. Tell me where he is. Where would you start from? Okay? Where would you start from? Now, Rob, do you think is there any way we can have more details? We put meat to this so that the minister is able to follow up.
Right Honourable Speaker, for starters, I'm glad that the Prime Minister confirms that Shivanama was arrested in 2019. Of course, as an advocate, that's a very good starting point. The leader of government business is the supervisor of all these agencies, and they can trace from the people who arrested Chibalama in 2019. If he was burnt in an acid tanker, we can take the tanker. At least he was arrested. There's only one agency that can arrest. So you still have a duty to trace from your arresting agencies where Chibalama is. I want to assure you that his blood is on your hands. Right, Mr. Speaker, I have a document here on my file. I submitted it on the floor of Parliament in 2021, including addresses, telephone contact for every next of kin. I even supplied telephone contacts of next of kin from whom some state agencies were asking for ransoms to release their family members. Clearly, with a statement saying on this one they were demanding for a ransom. It's the record of Parliament, right, Honourable Speaker. Right, Honourable Speaker, before we go into the others that are at least have no record, at least those in the Premier's Commission record have addresses. In fact, on the day this statement was released, the chairperson purported to say that they were missing some record. The following day, family members delivered national IDs of these missing persons. The Honorable Abdallah Chiwanuka, my Shadow Minister for Internal Affairs, even offered to deliver the Minister of Security to the home of Ewan Kanata Mohammed, who was picked by security in uniform in Walusubi, in Mukono, in 2021. Mr. Speaker, I can recall one by one. So it's flimsy, it's hiding away from responsibility of a government with the DSOs, with the GISOs, with the PISOs. I even hear the idea of PISOs for family. So, Right Honourable Speaker, I know how governments collapse. Unless we are seeing a trace of a collapsing regime, that they cannot make a trace even with information of missing citizens. Right, Honourable Speaker. So if the minister does not need time to come back here and he has information, we are waiting for it, Right, Honourable Speaker.
Minister for Internal
What we are not going to accept is the flimsy excuse of the supplied information. Let him regurgitate what he informed this House on case by case, Right, Honourable Speaker.
Right, Honourable Speaker, I don't know, I will say it for the upteenth time. I think the Honourable LOP has labored to extract a confession by duress using the House, but I still say I have no information further than what we have already submitted on the matter.
LOP, you have said you have some information in your file. Would you kindly lay it here so that I pass it over to the minister right now? I know it might be in our Hansard, but for purposes of flowing well with the session, because now it would require me to go tell the clerk, extract this for me, I give it to him. If you have it here, would you mind laying it over?
Right, Honourable Speaker, that's a personal file. Unfortunately, Parliament pays me not to supply government with personal information. But I can avail a duplicate copy of this file after agreeing on when is the minister supplying a response.
Thank you.
If the minister is willing to supply a response in the immediacy, then I can consider. Because after this session, I'll be able to supply a file. And then the minister can give us how much time he needs.
Thank you. Honourable Chief Whip.
Right Honourable Speaker, with your permission, you would permit me to pick the name that featured here prominently in the report of Uganda Human Rights Commission, and I read the findings of Uganda Human Rights Commission on Chibalama John Bosco. The Commission made several attempts to trace and record the statement of Natulinda Rita, a wife to the victim, but she has not been cooperative with the Commission team and intentionally refused to give any information to the team. Specifically, During the July to August 2023 investigations, the team reached out to Natulinda through an unknown telephone number, and she claimed that her husband is still missing. She informed the team that she was in Kakiri. The team then proceeded to Kakiri, but she could not answer our calls despite several phone calls which were aimed at seeking clear direction to our residents. However, when the team used a different phone number, she picked up the call and requested them to give her a few minutes to avail herself. The team waited in vain, and when they called her again, she refused to answer the call. I beg to provide this information.
I need protection, honorable colleagues. Right Honorable Speaker, the issue of human rights transcends even our political divides. If we go to the jurisdictions where we pick our chapter 4 of the Constitution, they're in the habit of suspending everything to ensure that human rights are protected. But for us to give integrity to this House, since the matter is on the floor, we must have an avenue where it must be put to total rest. And instead of having a hula ball from the left and the right, why can't we have an independent committee to hear from both sides, and then we have a final position on the matter? This will give integrity to the House, but it will also settle the challenges the various families are having. If truly their own are missing, they are in pain. If it is being used as a political tool by both NRM and opposition, then it shall also be put in the limelight. Right Honorable Speaker, I beg to submit.
Thank you. So, Rob, you had wanted to...
Right Honorable Speaker, we are a people's parliament, and it facilitates us by far when people get to know what we do in parliament. For external channels, Right Honorable Speaker, it's understandable because we don't control them like UBC. But for our YouTube channel to be off for all the days we have spoken on human rights issues, it keeps people in the black, in the dark. May I request, Right Honorable Speaker, that we are facilitated with YouTube channel, parliamentary channel, for people to know who is for human rights actually and who is not. People are kept in the dark about their talks of members of parliament here in the House. I pray, Right Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Now, honorable colleagues, I have the media in their chamber. If they want to stream to YouTube, but they can do it. If I didn't know YouTube and what is not on, so I'm saying I have media here. Okay? So, and we have a Hansard. What is very important is a Hansard here. Everything done here is being recorded. And anyone who speaks what the media feels they should cover, they will cover it. I just wanted us to conclude this. Number one, Rule 52, Rule 53.2, we have already exceeded an hour. We are limited by 1 hour. Number two, it has come to time for Prime Minister's time. So I gave my ruling earlier on, and I want to stand by my ruling, but I said within 30 days. So I'm going to engage both sides. Rob, I would request that tomorrow you avail this information to the minister, and then for us we shall require the minister to make a statement in response here with very clear details. Okay? Thank you.
Thank you, Right Honourable Speaker, for being patient. And that's why I said in my preamble to the statement that these moments bring out statesmen and dissipate them from demagogues and the social climbers. Right Honourable Speaker, on another day, if the rules permitted, I would have cross-examined the government chief whip over the statement he read here. But if the rules do not permit, I will not. Right Honourable Speaker, I concede to bringing a fresh list to you. And on the day the government commits to responding to these issues in a sequence, I'll return to the House, Right Honourable Speaker. I thank you.
Thank you. Prime Minister's time.
Item 9, Prime Minister's time.
Crack. Oh, Prime Minister's time.
Prime Minister's time.
Right Honourable Speaker. Honourable Speaker and colleagues. Members, instead of squeezing yourselves, I request the Speaker to allow our colleagues to come and...
Right Honourable Prime Minister, we have free sitting.
Yes.
By the way, Right Honourable colleagues, let me first tell you this. Honourable colleagues, tolerance is very, very critical for any parliament. I request you, tolerance is very, very critical for any parliament. So, even when, we shouldn't be having winners and losers in the House. We should try to tolerate each other. And especially the language we use will help us tolerate each other. We can use the language which can stoke fire, can use the language which can, So I request you, let us try to tolerate each other. We are all members and we cannot fit in this parliament. And our ideas cannot be heard. I just wanted to make that comment. Let's go to Prime Minister's time.
Right Honourable Speaker and colleagues, we realize that the political tempers are coming high in our different political divide. And so people want to be seen, at least to be doing something. However much you tolerate, for them they have a mission. Their mission is to collapse government, and we cannot allow. So let us continue, members. Honourable Speaker, the Honourable Helen Kaunde, Woman MP, 17th Cabinet approved a policy.
Right, Honourable, I have a procedure
from the senior.
Honourable Cecilia
That one I respect.
Honourable Speaker, thank you for allowing me to seek your guidance on procedure. Speaker, you have just talked to the House very emotionally that we must tolerate each other and accommodate each other as much as we can. My sister, my young sister, who happens to be the Prime Minister of this country, to make two statements within a very short time. I've sat here just to listen. Number one, you people spread out as if to say, it is good they have walked out. And again, you say, these people, they are finding something to do so that their voters can see that they are also doing something. Even if it is true, Right Honourable Speaker, that's why I'm standing here. I should have walked out with them. I'm here because I want to say we must, if we say we must accommodate, then we must accommodate. And the words from our mouths is the one that inflame the situation. When you come in a situation where a wife and a husband are fighting, you don't say, listen to this stupid man. You have to use words that cools down the situation. So, Right Honorable Speaker, is it procedurally right to allow those you are giving the honor to take the microphone to use words that can inflame the situation? I think this is the time we should try to cool down our temper, try to be accommodative, try to be reconciliatory, and that is the kind of language I would expect, especially from our leaders. So I'm urging the Prime Minister, through you, maybe to try and calm down and talk to us with the language of accommodation. And I think that's one of the ways that we can cool down the temper at our level. However low, however high, let us play our role. I will seek your guidance, Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable colleagues, if I may inform you, yesterday I called a few senior legislators who have been here for some time. And the major aim was how best we can build consensus. They guide how best we can build consensus. Because me, as a presiding officer, I don't at all enjoy presiding over a house which is one-sided. I don't. If on your side you enjoy it, me I don't. Because I'm a referee. I can't be a referee for one side. Okay? That's why we are trying our level best to ensure that the two sides talk and accommodate each other. Now, I have seen, and with a point of concern, I have seen how some members on the front bench behave, which to some extent is disrespectful of the presiding officer. And I'm concerned. But I will share with them. I will call the Prime Minister, we sit down with them, we talk. You know, being accommodative sometimes is taken as a sign of weakness. But you know, I see where I see behavior, I decide to ignore. But don't think I don't take note. And of course, I also have a limit. One day I will reach a limit. Only that I pray every day that I don't reach that limit. So I request the front bench, please, a chair is a chair. When a chair is speaking, listen. Then I give you your chance and you speak. Otherwise, if I reach a level where I determine that to be disrespect, and I'm nearly reaching that level and I'm really concerned, I didn't want to say this in the open, but I have to say it, please, let us respect each other. But above all, let us respect colleagues across the board, especially in terms of listening, so that we can have a side. That's why it was built for two sides. Whether it's one member here and a southern here, that one voice should be respected. And that one voice also should respect these ones. But you see, also cautiously, when you're dealing with the minority, the psychology of the minority is totally different from the psychology of the majority. The psychology of the minority usually feels I'm being suffocated because I'm minority. And someone gave us an analogy. What the rabbit told, I think one of Bahat were there. The rabbit, I think, told a lion, it says, you're going to eat me, but you won't eat me with salt and onions. You'll eat me with dust. Right, Honorable Prime Minister, I don't know if you've heard this. The rabbit told a lion that you're going to eat me, but you won't eat me with salt and onions. You'll eat me with dust when I'm dirty. So what does that help? Do we want to win here out of a dust war in the house? The issues being discussed here never happened here. Are issues which have been fed to be solved outside. Now they've been brought here as a platform. So, because here is a platform where you can raise any issues and we use words we argue. Let us not dismiss each other. Right, Honourable Prime Minister, I'll be grateful if you invite LOP for a cup of coffee. You start engaging. I know, but that is discretion, of course, on your side. You said here that you're very close, then we know. So you can take advantage of that. I'm sorry I've taken that long laboring on that line, but I will just be comfortable in this house if both sides are here. But for now, since I didn't receive any prior warning, we have to continue with business of the house, okay? As we build consensus. Let us not tire. Let us try to reach out to our colleagues and build consensus, and we come back to the house. No, honorable colleagues, let us continue with the Prime Minister. She has lent us a few minutes. I know if she wanted, if she was difficult, she would say, no, it's the Prime Minister's time.
And so, sometimes we shall be keeping quiet. But remember, even Jesus at one time, he turned the tables. Right Honorable Speaker and colleagues, there are a number of questions, but I will start with Helen Kahunde. Woman